Welcome to Good Night Book with Erica and Nate.
Happy Groundhog's Day. I know that's not very timely. Or
no,
vague enough.
Yeah. I thought about that too. You know, I love to acknowledge it, but
I know.
My favorite holiday.
It's because of Bill Murray.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I think it's stupid. And I like the movie. And I try to watch it every Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Yep. It's got moments. I find it really hard to just, that plot, which occurs in multiple movies, is really hard, I think, to watch. It's very stressful because it's like so close to real life.
Mm-hmm. I really like it. I like the repetition. I'm a big time travel movie fan, you know.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And so it's like a similar idea to time travel, I guess.
Well, yes. No, exactly.
I guess maybe part of it is that I like seeing them try to tweak, being able to, like, the idea of being able to go back and tweak a day to, like, not do it, that weird thing, or like to do this one thing better. Like today I had an egg in my pouch of my hoodie for some reason, because I needed my hands suddenly with the kids, and I had an egg in my hand, so I put it in the pouch. Then like 20 minutes later, I picked Wes up out of bed, and I sort of, and I was like, oh, oops.
No.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I would like to be able to travel back in time and start that over. But I can't.
I mean, you do what you can for your kids.
I guess I'll just wash the shirt instead. Yeah. That's my version of time. My time machine is the washing machine.
Uh-huh. Oh, well, you know, it's true. The washing machine is our first endeavor into, like, manipulating time and space, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. Always. And here's a tip. Use vinegar instead of fabric softener. Does the same thing. Okay.
I don't use either. I mean,
ooh,
I'd have to start.
That's why you have socks stuck to your shoulder right now. So speaking of time travel, we are time traveling because we're recording this on February 2nd, Groundhog Day, and you're not listening to this close to then. So welcome to the past. But the book today that we're going to be talking about is called Go, Dog, Go. Did I inflect that right? Because it's go, comma, dog, period. Go, exclamation point. So, go, dog, go. That's pretty good.
Yep, I think that's right.
Okay.
A little bit more frivolity would help because it's a children's book.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Huh. You sounded real serious, like
I
life or death.
misread this book then. I really, I was coming down from anesthesia when I read this, actually. So that might have affected my view of it. So why don't we do our synopses? What do you say? Okay,
yeah, I mean, speaking of time travel, I mean, so many of the books that we talk about are from way long ago. This one is in the 60s, a 61, I think.
Yeah.
P.D. Eastman. I read a version that I think is worth qualifying that is called Go, Dog, Go, a book of things that go. And it is a board book. So my synopsis might be a little different. Maybe not.
This is great. We're going to be, I'm going to come out right now and say I read the much longer Stranger one, I think.
It's like,
so we're going to be like covering two books. This is two books in one. This is like a double episode for you guys.
That's true.
Congratulations.
That's true. One is Pinocchio. The other one is Moby Dick. It's
exactly
very different. Yeah, spirit. So this one, the Book of Things That Go, it's about a number of dogs all doing different human-y things. And then they end up in a tree for a dog party. I mean, that might apply to both.
I think that does apply to both. No, it definitely applies to both. Mine is for once longer than yours. And it is this. A bunch of dogs do a bunch of stuff and say other stuff and look like Marmaduke. And this book is going to describe it all. So you don't even have to show your kids the pictures if you don't want to. That was my synopsis.
So again, true. It is true. It was like kind of ahead of its time in terms of people who might be visually impaired.
Yeah, it's a lot of it seems to be descriptive text, It's not like it doesn't do a lot of telling a story. It's more just like, it's almost like the slackers of children's books. Slacker, slackers, slacker, singular.
Didn't see the movie, so I can't clarify the reference.
So you can't. No, they write it on the cover box and everything. They didn't hide it. It wasn't hidden in the movie. You didn't have to see the movie.
I don't look at video boxes. I can't.
Oh, I don't see S's.
I don't see video boxes.
Yeah, so woke. So
yeah.
What
I mean, like, is this like kind of leading into your critique of the book? Lack of plot?
Let's do highlights, I guess.
Okay.
I want to talk about Marmaduke for a second, because
Sure.
going into this, I didn't know who drew Marmaduke. I will say I may have purposely forgotten it because I hate Marmaduke. Marmaduke is one of my least favorite things.
He's a Great Dane, to clarify, in the comic strip.
Yes,
newspaper
he is a Great Dane.
Format.
I wouldn't say great, okay? That's just me. But I hate Marmaduke. So these Marmaduke-looking dogs kind of put me in a bad mood right away. But and I actually suspected. I was like, is this the Marmaduke guy? I thought it was the whole time.
And it was? It is?
It is not.
Ah.
No, it is not. I still don't know who did Marmaduke because I didn't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't need any more enemies.
Right, because that would be a real easy thing to find out.
It would be. But
In fact,
instead I looked at
somebody's
P.D.
finding out right
Eastman's biography. He was a friend of Dr. Seuss's, actually.
Yes.
Protege, and joined the same team, the same publishing house. And I think you're right. That's probably why they put it down into a board book,
Yep.
to match the easy reading, the Read With Me, or I Can Read. What's that series called? Look at me, Mom. I can read.
I can also hop on pop and eat green eggs. That's a really long name, but that's what I think it's called.
Yeah, they abbreviate it for the logo. But so that was my first part. But I don't know. I almost feel like we should just discuss the differences for a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so
They're significant.
Yeah, I think the major differences, I glanced at Erica's board book version and read the longer 69-page version. And the board book's what, like 20 pages?
It's, if that,
Yeah. And so it just has like some snapshots and sort of has an order, maybe. It almost seems like it almost tells a story. The other one, no story. It's like this, not this, that. And then this, all of a sudden, you think you kind of get the cadence of what's going on. And then all of a sudden, it's these two dogs having a conversation, and the lady says, "Do you like my hat?" And the other one says, "No."
No.
And then they say, "Goodbye, goodbye." And then I was like, and then the rest, and then I kept reading, and it was more of the descriptive text,
above,
this is
below.
And like, so let me just pull it up here, and I'll some good examples here. Get
your favorite page.
One little dog going in, and he's walking into she is walking into like a hedge maze, and three big dogs going out. And there's three Marmadukes, I'll say for sure, walking out of a thing. And then they're like, some big dogs and some little dogs going around in cars. Some stuff like that.
After a hedge maze. Yeah, I mean, like you really felt like you were about to enter a journey into this hedge maze, which is hard to say.
But no journey, hedge maze. So then, so a lot of that, and then I'm thinking, while I'm reading more of that, I'm thinking still about these hat people. And then it happens, again. Just when I think like, are they ever going to return to this? It really kept me in suspense. So I liked that. That was my favorite bit. My favorite part, my highlight was the hat people.
It's really the only bit in the long one. It's not a bit in the board book, but
is it even in there?
It is. And it's funny that it made it in because it also feels like there's several layers, right? Where I didn't realize there was a long version. And so to me, the board book version also doesn't make sense because it's still kind of a series of things, but they set it up so that the dogs are waking up, starting their day, doing some random things that involve maybe like skiing up a really dangerous mountain and diving off of a crazy cool boat. And then they end up in cars and they head to a tree in the dog party. And that's the same in both books. But there is that hat moment where these dogs are passing each other on scooters, and it feels like the biggest non sequitur of all the non sequiturs, so it kind of stands out in the board book. And then when I found the big longer version and read through it and realized that was a bit, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense
and
because
expected there to be some resolution.
it's kind of the best part.
There was.
It's kind of the best part of the book. So to me, so like,
do you like my hat now?
If I were, exactly. And if I were to shrink, if I had to shrink it down, I would be hard pressed to completely get rid of them.
The whole series.
Just because. So do they say, so in your version, it says, do you like my hat?
And he says, no, I don't. And they go on their merry way, but she has a floppy hat with a feather in it. And it's a 2-page spread. And by the time they're done and they're on their way, he has stolen her feather.
Oh.
And she doesn't look bothered. She's like, in retrospect, knowing now the long version, she has decided she's going to find yet a different hat to please this man with.
I see
she's
that now.
She's indicated as feminine.
That happens in my version also.
Mm-hmm. The stealing of the
feather. I did not
yes.
realize that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not like they changed the pictures. It's like they just selected which ones make the most sense. So then the other huge difference, though, in the board book versus the long form, which I believe must be the original, is as you describe the long form, right? It's like very descriptive and it's up and down and in and out and explaining all these words and concepts to children. The board book is all about a rhyme. So it's they go up the ladder in a really big tree and join all their friends in a dog party or something like that. But every series, every spread is a rhyme and it's very simple. So there's only it's kind of like Where the Wild Things Are, where there's just like 3 or 4 words on a page. So you have to kind of go through it in a rhythm. So it's fun to read aloud.
Huh, that's interesting. Yeah, see, this is really plays a lot. This is what I do like a lot about the longer one is that it's like, I like the various sentence structures. Like, I think, like, I've always been a word guy, but like with a very verbal 4-year-old in the house, like I'm rethinking sentence structures a lot, or like thinking about them because the way she organizes sentences sometimes, and what she thinks, how she says stuff, and trying to teach her how to say stuff.
Yep.
And so I think would be really valuable in saying this is one way to say something. And like that hat thing, repeating 3 times, they say it slightly differently each time. Mm-hmm. Like the words are slightly different. Like he responds
she's not asking the same question.
And but they're both asking the same questions and giving essentially the same answers in meaning, but using completely different words. So which is I don't know. I think that's cool. Not very funny, I guess. But cool.
No, and it's not. It's a different kind of read aloud too, where it would be maybe more intriguing to a child because each page has you're explaining several different situations on the page. And
when we do story time, I usually just read to myself. We just read to ourselves
silently.
Yeah, she can't, and I just like if I think something's, and then she'll be like, "What?" And I'll be like,
"What?"
Oh,
he
doesn't like her hat. And then she's like, "Oh, thanks, Daddy."
That's very traumatic.
And then she just sits there and stares at me. Oh, it'll be nice when you can do this. You'll have a lot of fun, honey.
This is
when you learn to read. But the whole hat thing brought up a question for me that I wanted to ask you.
Okay. What's
your favorite hat for you?
You know what's weird? I feel like we might have talked about this before.
Did we really? What hat? I wonder what book was talking about.
Or maybe
hats.
It's from one of your other podcasts. It must be on your mind. It must be on your mind. Hats in general. I think this is a crossover.
Well, they are on my mind when I wear them. They're right above
Good Night Book.
My mind.
Yeah. Okay, let me work through this a little bit. Right now I wear stocking caps a lot, but I have a lot of different kinds and feel like I can rock a stocking cap, but I don't go into the summer wearing a stocking cap. I'm not a 90s punk.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Oh.
No. Okay. I also went through a phase where I was wearing names for hats. This would be really helpful to aid in this conversation. It's a hat with a brim, but it's not a baseball hat, and it's really low on your head. And
Like a
old
flat
men wore
cap?
them. And
Oh, like I call that an old man hat.
it's an old man hat. Yeah.
Does it have is it the kind that kind of snaps?
Yep. It could snap.
Okay, sure. I always want that's so. This leads me to my next question. Actually, is do you have a hat a kind of hat or a hat that you love that you feel like everybody else hates? And for me to answer that question,
It's
that kind of hat is that. Like anytime I wear it, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. That it's like an alternative to a baseball cap because that seems so boring. But yeah, I feel like no one wants it. I feel like everyone's like, no. Like, are you, is this a costume? Is what it feels like.
Yeah. Like,
So-
what's the role playing you're about to go do somewhere? Solving a British murder mystery.
Are you going golfing in the 70s? Cool. Okay, so do you have a hat that you
Hat that
love that
people
everybody
hate?
hates?
I mean, that one, yeah, Brett was always like, nope,
Yeah.
you're not rocking that one. And I was like, no, I am.
Oh, I am.
And I also had like for lack of a better term, like a bomber hat that for the wintertime that was like faux fur lined and the flaps came over my ears.
Sure.
And I thought I looked adorable. And I would get comments on it like, oh, that's
I like that you said comments and not compliments.
Well,
would
because
get
I took them
comments
as
at it.
I'm being more critical with this question. I took them as compliments, but when I really think back on it, it was more like people being stunned into saying something and then not saying something negative. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a hat.
Yeah.
I know.
That hat looks warm.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And then I love, actually, my new favorite thing is when people say thank you to not a compliment, but they don't know. You hear it because you hear so many more of those interchanges on podcasts and stuff. Somebody's like, you guys are so loud. And someone's like, oh, thank you. It's not a compliment.
Or I saw your show the other night. Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
I mean, I guess that's a little different because you did attend at least. But,
Yeah.
But I didn't say it was good. So
Yeah. Okay. Do you have like a hat that you wear all the time?
I have a baseball cap that I wear if it's raining to keep my glasses dry, or if it's sunny to keep my eyes dry of sunlight. Because I don't have prescription sunglasses.
Oh yeah, that's next level. That's when you
And
get
then I
real
wear
fancy.
I wear a lot of stocking caps in the winter for warmth, but also for probably hair reasons. Because once you put it on, then it's like,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Then my
It
hair's
makes
like-
a certain kind of thing happen to your hair.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to be way more into specific ones. Like my favorite all time hat is a Finland stocking cap. It was really big. It was almost like an envelope hat. Do you know what that means? Do you have any? Can you imagine what that
Yes.
means? I'm making it up.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
got
it's like a
straight-
two-dimensional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the straight across sort of seam across the top,
Yep.
front to back.
Yeah.
And so you just slip it on over your head like an envelope. And it was blue and white. And I loved it that it said Finland because it was just like, it said something, but it was so non-controversial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
no one's
yeah.
going to be like, fuck Finland. You know? I would have people say Finland sometimes when I wore it.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, but I lost it and I still, like this, I
Mourn
lost
it.
it maybe 7 years ago and I'm still mourning it. I still keep my eye out for it because somebody took it. And they'd be a
What's the
fool.
scenario?
No one else would appreciate it probably either because the stitching had come apart. So it came inside out all the time, which is pretty annoying.
You know what? I'm thinking more about this Finland thing, and I think you could also be perceived in so many different ways. Like maybe you're a guy who just likes that part of the world, Scandinavia or otherwise. I'm a little unclear.
Well, given my
Scandinavian.
huge Norsk form, my long blonde hair and muscles.
You're just shocking people with this juxtaposition a little bit to totally undermine what you just said. Yep.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what? Am I still coming down off this anesthesia? But yes, but no, but.
Right. I didn't say no yet. Kept going. And here's the other so there's also, sort of like Sami culture. Maybe this is like, you're like borderline Russia supporter because Finland's on the border of Russia. Also could you be into super dark, never ending night metal, heavy metal?
That could be, I guess.
It's so many levels.
For me, it's about the education system.
And there's that too. Yes,
right.
and
I think it makes me read. I think it made me read Socialist, but I was in Portland for most of it, so.
That's why people said something. I was like, I can't see people in Wisconsin being
Finland. What's up, Finland? So you've had a lot of dogs, right? Or dogs for a long time.
one at a time, but yeah, in my life, pretty consistently, yeah.
I was wondering if you. Okay, the question I wrote down is this: if you could describe dog ownership in a haiku, wouldn't that be cool? Because at first I was going to ask you.
That's a lot to put on the spot.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought. So the question for you is, wouldn't that be cool?
God. It would be cool, and I would love to think about it because haikus are like the best word problem poem challenge ever.
Yeah, so it's 5 syllable, 7 syllable, 5 syllable generally, right?
Yeah, I need a minute. We're gonna post
sure.
some. How about we post some things on our?
I wrote one in preparation.
Oh, okay.
So I'll read it slowly, and you think about it.
Oh my God. Okay.
You don't have to. You already answered your question. You did your part.
Oh, I got it.
Okay. Very good snuggles. Also a lot of dog poop. Comes out in the wash. That's mine.
One more time.
Very good snuggles. Also a lot of dog poop. Comes out in the wash.
Like your egg.
Yeah,
morning,
exactly.
and this is all converging.
Yeah. It really is. So wipe your tears away. I know you were crying a lot from my beautiful poem. Wipe them away. Now you do yours. You got one.
Okay.
More?
It's very on the spot. Big, dopey eyeballs. Never enough time for walks. Everything smells.
That was great. Right on the spot.
It's really
too.
listing.
Sure, it's
all the things.
It's children's booky. It's great.
I was debating if I could get away with everything.
I bought it. I definitely bought it. And by the way, you said on the spot before instead of on the nose, and I think that was appropriate because Spot is a classic dog's name. So don't write in. Erica did it on purpose.
But it was both.
It was on the spot. Oh, you're right. I get it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. Write your emails now. Start writing your emails again. Email them to me, complaining about my trying to correct Erica. You're right. I'm that guy. I've got a neck beard and one of those old guy hats. Do you have any other highlights? I have one more highlight.
Yeah, I found even with the short book, I felt like there were like a number of bizarre confrontations. So we talked about the scooter dogs in the hat conversation. But then in the short book, it was always like, well, there was one other one, the intersection one. And then the short book, there's a bird that's like, stop, dog, stop. And the dogs all stop. And then the bird crosses and then it's go, dogs, go again. And the bird's like, cool, thumbs up, thanks, big smile. And the dogs just like stare the bird down as they go. Like it's very much, I'm put in this place of like awkward body language. And then I was thinking about it and I'm like, I think that happens a couple other times in this book. So I really was like in the weeds on some of these interactions.
Do you think that P.D. Eastman was an avid pedestrian? Because that totally sounds like, when somebody stops for you and waves you by angrily, I feel like it's the same kind of energy, but or that you like walk by and kind of wave and they just stare at you, hurry up.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you anything.
They don't do that when you have kids. That's why I always carry my CPR doll around with me all the time. Dummy, I guess is the word. I didn't want it to be so derogatory towards my small child. I actually literally have 2 baby CPR dummies and one preteen named Billy.
Yeah, you should bring them all with you, and then you'll get a kind of different.
I'm sorry. It's he doesn't have any legs. You can see it, or a face. You can see that. Oh, his face fell off. Oh no. Yeah.
Okay, what's your highlight?
My last highlight, I guess. Oh, back to confrontations. Let me see if I can find this. It's like in the long version, there's a Ferris wheel thing, and it goes, the dogs are all going around and around and around. And then the next page is one of the dogs is like zoomed in. It's actually basically zoomed in on the bigger picture. It's just zoomed in to what's already happening with this dog yelling to the operator, "Go around again."
Yep, that's another one. You're right. I saw that and was very uncomfortable by that.
Yeah, what does he yell?
Nice,
man?
like book of manners for you.
Yeah, seriously. I wonder. Please. I guess I'm left wondering. Does he, or does the guy say no?
Like F off? Because of that, you're all getting off. You ruined it for everyone. That's what I imagine is on the next page of that story.
And then they pack up the whole.
Several
dogs packing up the Ferris wheel angrily.
Cigarettes hanging out of their mouths and a finger missing. My
last one, I guess, is there's a real sad couple pages, dogs at work, where these dogs have like pickaxe and a shovel. Oh. And then there's another one where there's a jackhammering and he looks unhappy, just shaken, and just says, "Work, dogs, work."
Oh.
Then they get to play baseball on the next page, so I guess that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's the same dogs. But what if this is like, no, these are the ones that have to work, so the other ones
It is the same dogs. I'm checking it out. I'm fact checking it, and they did that on purpose to be like, it's not all work for these guys.
They get to play.
Yeah. Don't worry, everybody. And then, still doesn't like that hat. I want to see quick if the guy steals anything from this hat person the second time. Nope. Weird. Pretty weird stuff. This is a pretty weird book, Erica. That's, I guess, the bottom line that I'm coming up with. You got any last thoughts on Go?
You know, we've been critical of other weirdness in the past, but I just felt like we were in the right place to deal with this weirdness and
coming off of anesthesia.
And go to mile. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. I'm glad we did it too. I guess I would. I know. I would recommend this if you're coming off of anesthesia. I would definitely recommend this book. I know it's a pretty specific thing, and you're probably going to forget to do it. So maybe set it out for yourself before you go into surgery. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's a good tip.
This is a good tip. That's what we're here for, is good tips.
New segment. Yep. Mm-hmm.
A new segment. And that's actually all the tips that we have for today. And all we have to say about Go. Wait, hold on. Sorry. All we have to say about Go, dog. Okay. That's all we have to say about Go, dog. Go! For today. So if you enjoyed the show, please rate and review and tell somebody you like about us. And if you don't like us, then tell somebody you hate. That'll really show them. For a transcript of this episode or any episode, please send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the address on your screen, and we will send you back a post-it note that just says, "We don't have that." Until next time, good night, Mush. Good night, creepy old lady. And good night, book.
The end.